Somebody wants to make a motion to open the meeting? You guys could spread out too if you wanted to. Second?
I'll second.
Just for our own minutes. All right. All in favor? I'm sure.
Aye.
All right. So we have two things tonight. We have Gray Barn is up first, Mike. And maybe I'll just have Dave start us off with some of his comments.
Sure. Okay. Mike, did you happen to have a copy of them?
I did, and I reviewed it, thank you.
All right, so number one, based on FEMA mapping, all of the project site lies within the 100-year floodplain. A note should be added to the existing conditions plans that confirms the site's location within the floodplain. Two, based on the EAF and available New York State DEC mapping, the project site or adjacent properties contains federal wetlands. The response letter provided indicates that there is a federal wetland on the adjacent property that does not encroach into the subject property, and that it does not appear that there are any New York State freshwater wetlands on the property. The site plan should include a note addressing the finding regarding the wetlands. Number three, the plan currently proposes 72 total parking spaces with 3 ADA spaces included in that count. The plan indicates a total of 15 parking spaces being provided in front of the building, while only 12 are provided. Plan should be updated accordingly. 4, the plan currently shows 18 feet between the edge of the proposed crosswalk and the rear of the proposed angular parking to the north of the building. Village Code Section 200-45E requires a 21 feet maneuvering lane for one directional flow around parking spaces at an angle of 60 degrees to the curb. The parking should be angled further to such that the required maneuvering area doesn't encroach upon the proposed sidewalk. Number 5, Village Code Section 200-45E requires that parking angled 90 degrees to the curb provide 26 feet wide maneuvering lanes. The parking on the south side of the site, both existing and proposed, does not meet this requirement. Additionally, the plan shows 2 parallel parking spaces that measure 9 feet by 18 feet. Village Code requires parallel spaces to be a minimum of 10 feet by 22 feet. Number 6, a detail should be provided for the no parking sign. 7, the ADA parking detail should show the no parking sign set back a suitable distance from the access aisle such that it does not interfere with maneuvering. Locations of the signs should also be shown on the plans. Number 8, the hatched area within the proposed parking area should be specified. Number 9, striping should be provided along the north of the building to the right of the crosswalk such that the travel lane doesn't abruptly end where the crosswalk begins. The applicant may also wish to consider if bollards should be provided next to the north side of the building doors. Number 10, the arrows provided at the southeast corner of the building should be shifted so that they aren't pointing directed at one another, and such that they better represent 2 travel lanes with opposite directions. Number 11, it is recommended that 2 do not enter signs be provided on either side of the access drive for eastbound traffic along the south side of the building, such that cars exit the parking lot and do not continue forward and drive the wrong way around the front of the building. Number 12, ADA Design Standards 502.3.2 requires that access aisles for ADA parking extend the full length of the adjacent ADA parking space. The access aisles provided on the plans extend part of the length of the parking space, but due to the angled nature of the parking spaces, they do not extend the full length. Number 13, Village Code Section 200-45J requires that parking lots devote 10% of the total required parking area to landscaping that meets the provisions of Village Code 200-32. This landscaped area should be denoted on the plans. During the prior planning board meeting, the applicant asserted that in lieu of permanent landscaping, seasonal plants will routinely be placed to meet these requirements. The planning board should consider this for adequacy. Number 14, Village Code Section 200-44I requires that off-street parking areas that contain 4 or more spaces are set back at least 10 feet from an adjacent lot zoned or used for residential use. The lot to the west of the site, lot 233-1-1, is zoned URM, Urban Residential Multifamily. The closest existing parking space to the adjoining property line is 9 feet away, which is an existing non-conforming condition. The nearest proposed parking space to the adjoining property line is only 8 feet away, and the plan needs to be revised to provide a minimum of 10 feet separation. 15, per section 200-34H3H, dumpster enclosures shall not be located with any required buffers, setbacks, or easements. The proposed dumpster enclosure appears to be approximately 5 feet from the rear property line, which is less than the required 20 feet rear setback. Proposed enclosure should be relocated to comply. Number 16, a review of the zoning variance that was granted in 1989 indicated that the applicant agreed to install and maintain a fire lane not less than 24 feet wide around the sides and rear of the building. Although the site plan references a 24-foot fire lane to be striped, the lane itself does not show the striping. The fire lane also conflicts with the proposed employee parking. Number 17, information on proposed signage has been provided with the submission. The design engineer or applicant should provide confirmation as to the compliance of the sign dimensions and locations with Village Code Section 200-38.1, 200-40, and 200-42. 18, based on the total amount of disturbance, 0.15 acres, no SWIP will be required. And number 19, the application will require referral to the Orange County Planning Department for review pursuant to GML 239 based on proximity to a state highway. Plans should be more developed prior to this referral. And number 20, a public hearing will be required for the amendment to the special permit.
Did you get all that?
I got it all. And we're fine with the comments. There's a few I'd like to focus on, discuss
Yeah.
with the board,
Yep.
see if we can get some input to help craft the plans moving forward a little bit better. So number 4, actually, Terry, can you bring up the site plan? Oh, you have it open. There you go. I didn't turn it around. I think it's probably sheet 3.
3?
Yes. Yep, right there. Perfect. So one of the things I was discussing with the applicant today was there's a door in the back portion of the garden center here that we can, I think, funnel patrons from the restaurant through here. They can come out, go to the beer garden that way. That allows,
As opposed to what?
as opposed to this current crosswalk that I have right here, which kind of creates an issue. Huge, right?
Yeah.
I
That
think
was-
that
So-
solves
That's the
problems.
parking lot issue.
Yeah, we were concerned.
Yeah.
We were concerned about someone opening the door into
Right.
the direction of traffic, and it's narrow there. You've got parking spaces that are shown there.
I asked today if there were other exits we could use, and there is one back here, so I think we can actually, like I said, relocate this crosswalk striping to back here. That eliminates the issue with
Yeah,
the 24-foot wide
Yeah, then you'd have to
aisle
ballards
lane
up.
and the access drive aisle width.
right,
I think that takes care of that.
right.
So that's what we'll show on the revised plan that we submit
Okay,
for the next
great.
meeting. So number 5, this is a little tough because this is an existing parking area. Over here, I can certainly shift these spaces 2 feet further towards the greenhouse and get a 26-foot wide driveway aisle. I'm just not sure I can do anything about
The existing?
Yeah,
the
you
existing
could-
one.
I would argue that's an existing
And
non-conforming.
he
Right.
noted as pre-existing non-conforming. I just wanted to make sure we were on the same page.
The bigger issue with, and if I'm skipping comments on your, is the dumpster enclosure.
Yeah,
So
we're
I
gonna-
think if you leave that parking lot, it's, you can say all day long that it's an existing non-conformity.
Yep, that's an easy one. I'm speaking with the client, we're gonna relocate that dumpster. It probably makes more sense. We were thinking about initially putting it right there. It's a lot closer to, a lot of the functioning portion of the site. They don't have to walk all the way back over here and dump anything. Plus, it kind of makes it easier for a garbage truck. We'll find a better spot, is what it comes down to for the garbage enclosure. That's an easy one to address. So we'll definitely be able to make this 26 feet. This will remain. Dave, the turnaround area itself too has to be the 10 feet away?
I believe it's just the parking space.
Okay, so I'll make sure that dimension right there is the 10 feet away.
But it's from the setback too, right? So it's 20 feet off the rear property line.
Okay, gotcha. All right, so we have room to adjust that. We should be able to make that work. So number 9 is addressed also by default because we're going to move the crosswalk. So, like 4, 5, and 9 were kind of tied together. 11. I was trying to find some good spots for the do not enter signs, and maybe we can work together to figure that out. I have one shown right here at this point,
Right.
and I have another one
Yeah,
there.
but it might be too late by the time.
No, I don't disagree with you. I had one shown here originally and or here, but the problem is it's off the property.
And they might think that they can't.
What's that, the right of way?
Either.
That's in the town right of way.
Right of way.
So I wasn't like,
So,
do I put
Mike-
striping on the ground? I mean,
well,
I think I
no,
sketched something here. Let me see if I have
Well,
it.
because if it snows, you can't see it.
right.
Mike, two thoughts on the right of way, and I'm really going down switching tangents on you. You also have all those, and I think if I'm reading the plans right, all those arborvitaes are off the property line.
These here.
Well, but the ones that the village can control, which is on Reed Street,
Yep,
right?
yep.
I bandied about how to deal with this because I know all of those arborvitaes are existing, but there's a note on the there's a note on the existing plan, and it's a variance condition that those arborvitaes be maintained. They're not on your property. Perhaps, and I can suggest to the village board that we grant a license, and if we're killing one bird for those arborvitae, we can't grant a license for the adjoining property owner, but we can for the right of way. Solve
Okay.
our sign issue.
If I can place the signs in those islands, then, yeah.
I think you would want a license versus going back to the ZBA.
Agreed.
And reopening that.
I originally, in my original design, had them shown there. And then I said, wait a second, I'm putting this within the town right away. I have to
Right.
move them and try to find some kind of a spot that makes more sense.
I just want to be clear, that plan shows the arborvitae as surveyed, or is that just a general depiction?
No, I believe those are surveyed.
Okay, because I just want to be clear. That will segue for the other property line with respect to arborvitae. I'm trying to avoid opening the 1989 can of worms here, but I'd also know you guys are contract vendees, right? You're still in contracts to buy the property. Those arborvitae are part of your conditions. Right. I don't know if there was, I tried to do a quick search today. I didn't, why are they there? So you might want to find that out from the seller.
Oh, what the original?
Why was there an agreement? Did the neighbor say, okay, you can do it here? Because it's not like they're on the line. They're good 20 feet over the line. So I would just, because it is a condition attached, we're gonna have to carry that condition forward. If there's a agreement that they had, or the other guy planted it, or whatever may be, you might want to clean that up as part of your purchase process.
I just want to see what you guys are doing on your signs considered.
Yeah, so, and I had comments on here about the striping.
That's not bad.
Oh, yeah.
So I was thinking, because you don't want to have them, you want to designate.
And the ones on this
protected
side are
area
in the
around
town
them. There's
right
not a
away,
lot
the
here,
village right
but
away.
At least it's something,
But
and it guides
these-
someone around.
So, we
The other
looked
thing
at it
is,
today, but
I don't
it
think
was
you want to
like,
have,
I'm thinking,
Yeah, yeah, we
this
should have
back-
we should
old
have
guy
an
owned
island there,
both
yeah.
properties.
and now you've got
even
two,
that one, and just
like, there's limited
stuck 'em
space here,
there.
because like,
But we
I don't know
can't
that you'd be
find-
able to keep these because of that.
It's screening,
I don't know if you-
and in the 89 agreement,
Say that again?
I don't
it's
remember.
a
No,
condition.
if I have to lose
So
them,
that
we
has
have
to carry
some
forward.
sort of
So it might make
I'll
sense
say this
maintain
is
this,
10 by 22.
Because, you know,
But
you
they're
get
not on their
pinched
property.
here. Two-way
So that's
traffic,
a
right?
weird-
The village calls for 25 feet, I think, for the access aisles. The variance called for a 24-foot wide fire lane.
Or nobody looked at the property
What I
line
was
because
saying
they had
was it
enough
conflicts
property
with
both sides, and
parking
just said,
here.
yeah,
Now,
put
again,
them.
if that's employee-only parking, I meant to put in my letter also about,
But if I remove this.
Read.
don't I have-
Over here,
Yes, but
if it is,
I think
but you're
So
driving
that's
down
right
the
here,
fire
right?
lane.
yes.
So you have to go cross over there.
So,
Because you're quick.
you know, and again.
Yeah, but there's no
one of
real
my
traffic
comments-
coming down this
I thought I
road
had
at
in
all.
there, should be referred to emergency
Is there
services
any
for
way to
review.
come out up here and then?
Again, the variance calls for a 24-foot wide fire lane. I don't know if you can have a
So
fire lane. and
here,
just
they're
instruct-
gonna come out
Maybe you
here.
don't strike that, and you tell the employees to park outside the fire lane.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Park there because of that.
You
I
lose,
get- but
that's the bigger
all
problem.
I'm gonna suggest is I just hear a lot of discussion. Poor Terry is not gonna be able to transcribe any of this.
Yeah, this is just like chit chat, you know?
If you want, but this is
So- We're all playing architect.
Okay,
I wasn't supposed to catch any of that, right?
well, you're gonna, yeah. I'm just saying that if there's discussions that they want the applicant to
Yeah, no,
have,
it
we
was-
should-
it wasn't
we should
worth-
not have the chit chat.
It wasn't worth hearing.
Um,
Yeah,
so I just, talked about a few things with Dave as well just now. So we'll, between what Liz said before, and Dave had an idea where we might actually show some striping around this corner. It would actually guide the traffic a little bit better as well. And I can maybe move that do not enter sign then right to this location. So as they're at least approaching that direction, they'll see it before they actually turn into the
A
event.
big exit sign with an arrow to the right there might help too, right? You know, like to show you them that that's the way out, not going through that to the front.
I mean, we could, you're talking about if we're coming this way.
Yeah, like right where, see that corner where you want to put the do not enter sign?
Yeah.
Where you want to put it, no, the other one. There, if you have a big arrow there that says exit, to point them to the right.
I wouldn't,
You can't go in, because exit's right when they're.
they would have, by the time they see that sign, they'll have passed the exit. If I put it right there.
Isn't where is the exit?
Right there.
The exit's right here.
Yeah, that's what I mean, so like,
So the corner of the building comes down like right here. So even if I put it there, you're not gonna see, I mean, first of all, that's where the do not enter sign I think is gonna go, which makes more sense. If we've got the do not enter sign there and I've got striping on the pavement, that shows a right-hand turn at that point, I'm hoping that takes care of it. Yeah. And then we'll see if there's the possibility for us to put something along these islands here to help out with some of the other traffic. I think 2 do not enter signs are important in this area, which could find the right spot for them.
The other thing we were talking about, just for the board's knowledge, was that I was stressing to Mike that the variance calls for the maintenance of a 24-foot wide striped fire lane around both sides of the building and the rear of the building. So I know the map, he has the words on there that just says fire lane, but my presumption is that the fire department, I imagine back in 1989 when they asked for it, wanted it to be striped, not just the words fire lane, but the actual 24-foot wide width. The problem, one of the problems is on the north side of the building, the parking conflicts with the 24-foot wide. You'd have to drive through the fire lane to get in and out of the parking spaces. And on the south side, I don't know how they had it because there was no plan. We didn't have a plan from 1989, or at least I don't have it. But on the south side of the building, if there's a 24-foot wide fire lane there, you wouldn't be able to get in and out of Reed, off of Reed Road. So, but again, I don't have the plan from 1989 that was used for the basis of that variance.
The plan that I provided was from
2010.
2010. Yeah.
That you certainly what you provides. You gave us what we asked for.
Yeah.
It's just it happens to be the 1989.
Does anybody know where that is?
You're gonna have to.
The answer to that is
very
no.
nice to Terry if she's gonna go up to the basement, up to the attic, or down to the basement. Look at her face.
For an additional fee,
Unless someone else happens to have it, I don't know who.
All right, we'll see what we can do, but either way, we'll do the best. I mean,
The actual plans.
as you note,
well,
this was noted as being a fire lane, but it's also serving as an access driveway.
Correct.
It's very clear that it is, so I don't know if they're just trying to make the best of a bad situation, I'm not sure. Maybe the intention with the fire lane was just to make sure there's never anything stopped, blocked, or,
No park. Yeah.
no parking.
Yeah, and I know that,
Standing, you know.
yeah, the variance did say that there shouldn't be any, produce stored there or anything, blocking the fire lane at all times. So that should be part of the plan. And the other part, and I thought I had I apologize, I thought I had that on the tail end of that comment. My suggestion was going to be that it should be sent to emergency services,
Yes.
fire department, just so that they can comment on access to the building.
and police just have both.
Like, is there ever even a thought, I mean, just for laughs, just to try to, make that exit a little easier, possibly to go to the very rear left and take 3 spots away, but yeah, keep going to your left and read, and then put 3 back kind of where that was, and close that spot up and open it up? I mean, is it even a possibility, just for ease of travel or traffic, taking 2 lefts out of there? Because that's gotta be a bit of a hard left and a left, when you're exiting, right? I mean, maybe to get yourself a little bit more road room.
It doesn't stop, it doesn't help us with the one-way traffic through the site. And then, Yeah, I've got to look at the topography. I don't think we can because there's a huge elevation change.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah, I
Okay.
mean,
There's a
Reed Road goes
retaining
up pretty
wall
fast,
on
yeah.
that side that gets
Yeah,
steep.
Okay.
so I don't believe we can even get that way if we wanted to.
Yeah.
Some idea.
No, I've thought of that, it would be nice if
Yeah.
it was a bit wider.
So-
You get better signage because you could put up wherever you want, like next to the rear.
Dave, did you talk to Mike about the potential of making this 60 degree, 45 degrees?
Well, yeah, that was one of the comments, is that, Mike, the parking spaces that are on the north side, that's the employee parking.
Yeah.
They're right now oriented at 60 degrees, which requires, I forget the exact dimension, but there's the access aisle leading in and out of them is a certain dimension. And if you were to change those to 45s, that dimension decreases, you'd have more space on that side. Now that becomes somewhat less critical of a comment than it was when you had the crosswalk on the side of that building.
But if we do both, it might just make it better. I can try to look at making that 45 degrees and relocating the crosswalk.
Yeah, you might lose a spot or
We have
maybe even
adequate
two,
parking
right?
for the site though.
You know, the other thing, according to the variance, you have to keep that 24 feet.
Yeah, I mean, not having the map from 1989 is somewhat, because it would seem that if you were providing a fire access around both sides of the building in the rear, and it was 24 feet wide, it would seem that you were driving over it, you know, but I don't know how you resolve
I
that.
sus-
Fire lane
suspect-
standards in 1989.
I suspect that 1989 map also may show parking in that spot too.
I
Yeah.
don't know, yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
Because
Sorry.
it's,
That
yeah, I
Sorry,
mean, it's,
Terry,
it's,
you're gonna have
it's,
to, you're
it's,
gonna have to go digging, I'm
yeah,
sorry.
dimensionally, it's seems to be set up for it, close enough anyways, but, let's see what we can come up with. So, I mean, that takes me through comment 11. The only other comment I want to discuss with the board was 13 about the landscaping. We had discussed that this area right here, the decorative landscaped wall, would be the area that we would be able to put plantings. Those would rotate through the seasons, which would kind of be nice because they could use it as a
Yeah, we
display
talked
area
about
too.
this last time, and I think we were
Yeah.
generally satisfied.
Yeah, that's why I thought so.
Because of what the place, the stock of everything there is flowers, trees,
Yep.
and everything else, plus the, you know, it goes the length, I think, of the front there. Not the length of the whole front, but this bottom portion right
from
there.
the entrance.
Right. And those are changeable by season, right? I
Correct.
think so, yeah. So I mean, I think we had this conversation last
And
time that we'd be generally
Just,
satisfied.
Mike, not to be a nudge, you do have because you have the parking lot area requirement, and I don't know what the total dimension is. I envision, you know, just, you know, where the driveway to the new parking lot is, I see a little hump there. If we could get a tree, you know, not anything crazy, yeah, like there, like,
I thought about just making
Something-
that painted
oh, painted.
striped area, but I can leave that
Yeah, one,
non-paved and we could potentially
yeah.
put a
Just-
tree there.
You put tree or we can put a planter with
It-
it in it, that's okay.
I don't have an objection to
No,
planter
either
versus
way.
tree. If you wanna have something you can change up, it just, what it does is it breaks up the plane of the parking lot. That's really what the intent is.
Gotcha. Yeah.
I will say, going on, and you're the plant people, so I'll leave it to you. I went on the Google Maps or whatever with the little man. I know exactly how tall the deer are on those arborvitae.
That's funny.
I know exactly how tall the deer are.
That was our first thought, why would you wanna put an arborvitae, the deer are gonna eat them.
So 14, we just discussed by default
Lots of options.
Yep.
in the back over there, so we're good.
Yeah.
And 16, I mean, we've been discussing. Those were the only ones that I wanted to discuss with the board. All the other comments.
Yeah, I mean, if, you know, Dave would tell, I don't know if we know, like, because it's a one-way, it could, the code is probably less than 24 feet, but because it's part of the variance, if you did want to change it, you'd have to go to the zoning board.
I'd prefer to try to maintain what we have. We'll see if we can do some research and figure out what the 1989 site plan might, at least its intention was, if we can find it.
I was just saying to Terry, I think I came across it actually in my looking for other stuff, and Terry thinks she did too, so it might be
Okay.
right up there.
Okay,
So,
all right.
but we'll of course make it sound like it was very difficult to find.
Ryan, you got some homework.
So the last engineering company that worked with them that's still around, I bought everything from them. So I'm gonna take a look and see.
Oh, then you check.
So I'm gonna see what I can do for you before the end of the night so that you don't have to go.
That'd be great.
On the attic?
That'd be perfect.
Previous owners, they might have bylaws, right? Almost. Didn't they?
They might have. They're probably in Florida somewhere, and soak
They
up
are
the sun,
somewhere
and probably have no idea where any of that would be.
Still around.
Do you want me to go through?
Yeah, if
Mine?
you would do your comments, yeah.
Okay. We, as Dave mentioned, it is subject to 239. Just remember, this is one where DOT and the town of Monroe have to get a copy because it is within 500 feet of the town border. Their seeker comment is satisfied. I did provide, with respect to the signage requirements for the sign. I'll let Mike, but I sent you to the
Yep.
code provisions for the applicable signs.
Yep.
And really,
Liz, do we have lead agency yet, or do we have to declare our intent?
we can declare lead agency if you'd
Yeah.
like. Because this is no outside agency approvals are required.
Mm-hmm.
Unless I'm missing anybody, but I don't think so. We can declare lead agency at the
So the
next-
town's not, the town would be,
No, they just get notice of the application by virtue of 239 because of the proximity. They're within 500
okay.
feet,
Uh-huh.
but they do not have approval authority
Right.
over it. And the only reason DOT is getting it and
county road.
is that it's on a state highway. So long as they don't touch the entrance, they don't need a DOT permit. But by 239, I have to send it to them.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So we can. You said the plan should be a little further along, right?
I mean, I think it would be good to have
Okay.
the circulation and also find out if we can find that map and hopefully confirm that they can put the parking there, or maybe it was there, and it doesn't infringe on the fire lane. But because obviously, if it does infringe on the fire lane and they can't keep a 24-foot fire lane, then that changes the variance, right?
Yeah.
What about, like, I don't know if this is even possible, maybe taking out the spots in the front there and making it a two-way, and then you got your fire lane? It's like 10 spots.
I can't make it fit. You're asking me to make this perpendicular parking and make this a 24-foot
No,
wall?
make it a two-way, get rid of parking in the front. Just eliminate parking and just make it a two-way street. This way you eliminate all
But
your
technically,
traffic in the front, your foot traffic. You don't have cars or anything blocking the front that makes it look really nice and pretty right there. You have
the
all
hard
that
part is under modern day fire lane standards. You're not supposed to even drive in it's the fire lane. It's to pull up to. So is it
So they make
what
the
was
whole
it? What
front
was it in
no way.
1989? If
Right.
the intent was just keep a 24-foot path, like don't put racks and equipment which I think.
And yet, there was all that stuff in there.
I know.
There was, yeah, because when I go there, there's bins of like top
Yeah.
soil, mulch,
They
and
want-
all that kind of
they
stuff.
want a
I've seen
24
that.
Well,
It's like a whole
but
rack
in
system.
all fairness, in my recollection, there's this gap between each of these parking spaces. It's usually stacked in that space between the parking space and the building.
But that
I've
corner-
never seen it out in here.
I've seen
here.
it, Mike, in the corner of the Reed and 17F, right there.
Yeah.
I've seen it there. You know, I've
Also,
seen that stuff
the little
stored
man,
there.
and I know it's not your clients, it's because it's an older picture where the employee-only parking is. That was chock-a-block full of,
Yeah.
a gated chock-a-block full of.
There was like a whole rack system
That
against
was.
the wall.
That I
Yeah.
agree. Yeah, that I agree. Yeah. That I agree. That I've seen there
Oh,
myself.
does it show up on the screen?
It doesn't,
No.
no
It
love.
won't, light won't shine on light.
No drive through like this, just- You come in, go to the employee parking, and then you come out the back.
So again.
But we would
No
lose,
drive in front.
but we would lose a ton of parking spaces.
They sell a lot of little stuff,
You know?
and you're gonna have to go all the way back there to
All the way
park.
in the
Yeah.
back.
So
That's
for
problematic.
purposes, legal purposes and purposes of the variance, they need to comply with current fire access code, but that's not necessarily the issue. What does that 24 feet mean? Is it, I don't think, based on what we're reading, because it's not even physically possible to accomplish a 4-foot wide fire lane as it is defined today? Is it just a 24-foot
Open.
open area that
Right.
a fire truck can get around? Probably.
Yeah.
So if we can confirm that, I think that we
That
don't-
solves a lot of
then
it then, yeah.
then I think we don't need to touch the variance. And
Right.
I'm not trying to make you jump through more
Sure.
hoops, I'm trying to problem solve here.
No,
So I
that-
think if we can find that map and confirm that,
Okay, Ryan.
No pressure.
There's so much stuff on the cloud, but this is on a USB drive that's purple sitting on my desk at home.
No pressure. Just tomorrow, Ryan.
Terry comes in on Thursday, so if you could find it before Thursday and let her leave
Tuesday.
today's Monday, I'm sorry, I'm losing track of the week.
I'll have you an email tonight.
I think that's all I've got.
So
Okay. Any questions? Do you have more comments, Liz?
I think just from, do we have other applicants that are gonna be meeting at our regular meeting? Do we have anybody on the agenda?
Is 208 on the agenda?
I haven't gotten it.
Okay, then no.
Okay,
No,
so,
That's good.
Mike,
Yeah.
because all we're doing is lead agency and you're gonna make another submission before we do 239, if you're it, we're gonna say we'll see you next month and we'll do lead agency, because that doesn't alter your timing.
I don't have a problem with that. There's no need to attend a meeting. They can take action without us.
Well, no,
That's
I'm gonna say, like, because we're not gonna have the meeting.
Oh, you're just not going to have a meeting. I'm
If
sorry.
that's the only action that, for lead agent, because it doesn't cost you time,
Right.
right?
Yeah,
Because
well-
I don't have to circulate, I don't have to do anything else like that.
That's fine. I'm okay
Right?
with that. I'm
And
okay
then-
with that.
And then once you make your follow-up submission, I'm assuming it'll be ready to go. We'll do 239, lead agency, all in one. You're not losing, like, if you were losing time, I'd say, well, hold
I
the meeting.
understood.
If there are other applicants, we'll let you know.
Okay. Fair enough. Yeah.
I just, if you bring us all in for one meeting, you're gonna pay him, me, all that for us to,
Yeah. That makes sense. That makes sense. I can agree with that. It doesn't cost us anything. 'Cause it's just an action you're taking. It doesn't necessarily matter actually what meeting it happens at.
correct.
Yeah.
Okay. That's good.
So does the board have any other questions or
No,
concerns for me?
anything else from you guys?
Okay.
No, carry on.
We'll do a little more homework and we'll get back in here. All right. Thanks for your time tonight,
All
everybody.
right. Have a great night.
You too.
Have a great night.
It's a separate letter.
It's like a separate email
Well,
or something.
yeah, exactly.
I just kind of.
Yeah, hey chief, both fire chiefs and different letters.
Doesn't make sense.
Right.
Yeah.
Call everybody.
Just a different letter. What we need to see is that.
Yeah, I agree.
EMS,
And
police and fire?
when it doesn't affect their timeline.
Just, yeah, police and fire.
No,
I just, I mean,
I
If
agree.
it affects their timeline, then I would
Yeah.
call the meeting.
I agree, totally.
all right, we good? All right, next up is 3:30 stage. David?
I heard there was a need for an architect and you want a record storage room?
We don't need
Okay.
anybody, we just covered it all, you know?
Oh, you do? Okay. You just need my seal to sign off on it. There you go. I like that kind of job.
All right, let's see.
Hello, everyone.
How are you?
We're here again before you.
we are.
We did make our submission in response to the last planning board meeting. I believe all of you've gotten our cover letter, which outlined the items that were in addition
Yep.
and in response to the last planning board meeting.
So we're gonna just get it going. We'll start with Dave, and Dave,
Okay.
take it away.
Sure, right. Dave, you have a copy of the comment letter?
I do. Do we want to go through, he's going to go through the whole thing or address?
Probably at least the ones that need addressing, meaning that, you know, Dave would know what they are.
Okay, I'll skip over the informational ones.
Yeah.
Okay. 3, a report has been provided by Creighton Manning which discusses trip generation, parking, and potential impacts. It is understood that the evaluation has been provided to Kimley Horn, the village's traffic consultant, for review and comment. I actually heard from John Canning today. He said he has that and he's reviewing that. Okay. Number 4, project proposes the consolidation of tax lots 213-1-30, 213-1-32.1, and 213-1-51 into a single lot. Consolidation of the lot shall be a condition of any site plan approval to be issued by the planning board. Per section 200-44J, parking lots and loading spaces shall be screened visually from adjoining properties. The screening along the north property line should be reviewed by the planning board for adequacy. Per section 200-45J, parking lots shall devote 10% of the total required parking area to landscaping, which shall meet the provisions of 200-32, trees and landscaping. A landscaping plan has been provided consisting of 24 boxwood shrubs, 10 white cedar trees, and 7 dogwood trees. Planning board should review the plan for adequacy. Number 8, provided turning analysis and site plan indicate that deliveries for the furniture store will park in the middle of the parking lot, effectively blocking traffic to and from the side and rear parking area. Plans should note how frequently deliveries are expected to the furniture store. Plans should provide a designated area for loading and unloading that complies with Village Code Section 200-45D. Applicant should also address that per Village Code 200-44I, loading spaces are to be located more than 200 feet from the residential district boundaries. Number 9, from the provided striping details, the normal parking spaces are to be single striped while the wider parking spaces are to be double striped. Village Code 200-45C requires all parking spaces to be double striped. See section sketch C in the aforementioned section. Number 10, the ADA accessible parking detail provided shows accessible parking spaces with a width of 8 feet. Village Code Section 200-45C requires all parking spaces to have a minimum width of 9 feet. Number 11, it should be identified on the proposed ADA signage that the proposed ADA parking is van accessible. Number 12, per Village Code 200-34D, all non-residential uses shall provide a fire lane to allow for access by emergency vehicles at all times. Plans are subject to review by fire chief for approval of fire lane. If applicant determines a fire lane is not feasible, the plan shall still be submitted to the fire chief along for review, along with written materials detailing why such a fire lane cannot be provided. Number 13, the intensity levels shown on the lighting plan do not appear to provide sufficient illumination in certain areas of the parking and access drive. A minimum of 0.25 foot candles should be provided. Also, it is unclear as to the actual location of the light poles and the intended orientation of the fixtures. Please clarify. Number 14, the Orange County Department of Planning has completed their review under GML 239 and has recommended the project as a local determination. And number 15, the project is subject to architectural review and approval. And number 16, again, we've had this comment, this is a repeat, it's informational, basically saying the submitted EAF indicates the presence of potential endangered species habitat, northern long-eared bat, as well as archaeological sites. A letter dated October 16, 2024 was received from New York State Parks, Recreation, and Historic Preservation, indicating that in their opinion, no properties including archaeological and or historic resources listed in or eligible for the New York State and National Register of Historic Places will be impacted by the project. The letter states that it does not address potential environmental impacts. It appears that all site improvements are located in existing paved or gravel areas. And last comment, a public hearing will be required.
What do you want to tackle first?
Well, the ones that are repeats that we've addressed a while ago, and I just, because they keep showing up and we're showing the same thing over and over again.
All right, so tell us start there, Dave. Tell us which ones you think are repeats, but that you answered.
Let's go with number 6. 10% of the required parking lot area is devoted to landscaping. We addressed that in our prior submission, and I reiterated it in our cover letter. We show the calculations on page C3 to show that we meet this requirement. So I'd like to get that, off the list. If we've met that for several months now.
We'll take a look at that, and I'll also have to take a look at it in regards to 200-32. It's also not about the 10%, but there's other provisions of that. We can review that though, Dave.
Okay. Just if it's informational, great. If it's not a condition, then let's leave it that way. Let's go to number 4. We realize it's a condition of site plan approval. That should be informational at this point. Number 5, the parking lot and loading spaces shall be screened visually from the adjoining properties. I mean, we've showed that. We've showed it not only in plan, we showed it in the renderings.
Which one was that, David?
Number 5.
Okay.
So we show it in plan, we showed it in the renderings. I mean, the screening is there. The renderings are actually a direct depiction from the
So
plans.
I looked at the plan today, I didn't see the screening. I'm talking about between the condos and the parking lot.
Yeah,
Is that the page you want?
right here.
Do you have an architectural plan, I mean, a landscape visual of that?
Yeah, we did, we submitted renderings, at our,
Yeah,
at 2 meetings ago.
Yeah, that was from, we should have renderings from a prior submission.
All right, so the renderings are not matching that.
No, well, my comment has more to do with the fact that whatever the screening is, the board should review it for adequacy. If they determine that it's adequate as screening, then that's sufficient. If the board determines that whatever's there or whatever's proposed is not adequate, then that's a different matter.
Dave is simply saying that you have to review.
We have to review it,
adequacy. You
right.
have to review,
Yeah.
you didn't, there's not a comment that it's not there, that the board has to review for adequacy.
Right.
Right, which we just didn't get to yet as part of that, but, so that's why you're saying remove that, but on the rendering, Dave, it's not in the rendering. I looked at that today, I can pull it up. The screening is not there. Or if it is, we have a different idea of screening.
I guess the question is, how well is the use screened from the adjacent residential use?
I mean, we
Pull the rendering.
we put it all along right, right here, and we did depict it on the,
We're gonna pull it up right now,
sure.
stand by.
And so what are you proposing for the screen?
Oh, we did a whole landscaping plan. The trees are all identified and,
Go to,
tall and short and everything else.
scroll down, scroll, that's all you have? No, there's more than that. There's like, there's a playground that we saw. 'cause
Oh,
playground-
there's quite a,
I think it was from a March submission.
yeah, we did about 4 or 5 renderings of the site.
This, no, that's not their new
No,
one.
that's the architectural, where we show the colors of the painting of the building.
Dave, did you send those to us,
Yeah.
the renderings? The most recent? Dave, the ones that you have that I saw. Are they the? Okay, thank you. Yeah, this is.
You should have a rendering like this.
Okay, so, yes, so this, Dave, this shows no screening. This is what we're talking about.
Well, the screening starts back here. There's very little room to put anything there. So as soon as the area widened, we started putting landscaping down here.
So this is, how wide do you think that is?
Can you get this site plan? Maybe 10, 15 feet?
So I'm saying, yes, this is why I'm saying I didn't see any.
So it's just grass.
Right there, at this point, which is almost the length of the whole
So if I don't know what.
neighbors, and you want, if you live there, you're gonna want
Yeah.
something, you know what I mean?
Probably the easiest
And we just have to see how wide that is, because I think, I'm looking at this thinking, it's pretty wide. Believe me, I could have looked.
We're talking, but that's not
current
his.
Yeah, the
Play
current
with
plan.
that
And
involves
No,
property
but-
line.
Zoom into,
Well,
He needs
see the
part of it's-
condos, they're in the top.
Yeah, but-
Right there.
screen his use.
Zoom in, yeah, to there. Is this the page you want, David?
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
Just keep going in a little bit more if you can.
The grass area that you're looking at is right here. And then it starts to widen up here, and that's where we started the landscaping, the screen, the parking area.
So the grass area is actually all the way from the front there.
Yeah, but.
It's
a
actually
lot of-
it goes to the road, all the way to stage.
Okay, but please remember that this is our property line.
Can't see anything like that, really.
It actually reflects off
Screen
it.
doesn't work on the screen like
Yeah.
that.
Do we still have
You bought the wrong one.
Oh, no, this time, come on now. I brought the right one on this. But it worked last. Oh, was that because we were further away?
No, I think I think the color issue, somebody told us it's a color,
Mike said the screen won't work on the
right?
screen.
It's a green that
Yeah,
doesn't work,
I brought the green, but it doesn't,
it doesn't work. Oh, there it is.
you can kind of see it.
Yeah, you stick
So maybe
to
the red doesn't
stick
work.
to the metal pointer.
Oh, here we
Oh,
go.
wait.
Here we go. I got it.
Okay.
the angles in the ceiling?
I like the metal pointer. Stick to the metal pointer.
I invested in this, come on, just for this
Just don't
board.
scratch the screen.
Okay, so please remember, this is our property line. So a lot of the grass you're seeing is right
How
here.
wide is that there?
Well, here, I mean, at 30 scale, this is probably 10 feet.
Okay, so,
But to the left more, by the.
Well, over here, it definitely increases to,
so Dave, let me ask you a question on this, because I'm seeing something different, but I could just be me. This wall in front of there, toward this parking lot, that wall there belongs to who?
it belongs to us, right here.
All right, so the wall is on your property, the length of it, right? Okay, so now you're saying that all this grass is not yours. Where does it, it's hard to see where it picks up from there.
Yeah.
But based on this picture, I would not be happy if I were them.
Yeah, there's no screening in between.
You know what I'm saying? Now, yeah, that's what I would say.
Well, again, it would be very difficult for us to do anything from this point back. I mean, here we have the existing chain link fence that comes across there, which is not in that rendering. We don't have the chain link fence. But, I mean, we left that there and we started the landscaping where it's reasonable, right about here. See, if this is nine and a half feet, then this is about 9.5 feet. That width or that length is the same on both sides of the property line.
The screening that's there, what is that screening for? What is that screening away from? Is there more townhouses back there?
No, it's
So
the
it
parking.
ends there,
Yeah.
so then you're just screening the woods.
Look and see,
Basically, the parking lot area.
because I don't know how
No,
that is.
like-
Well, here's the parking lot in the
There.
back, yeah.
Probably should.
That's their parking lot area.
Yes.
You're only screening the parking lot area, not the houses where the lights can go on and people are sleeping.
Yeah, I think it's a little-
Well, let's talk about the lights later. That's why we're at another illumination.
And stuff like that, and all that kind of stuff, when it gets dark at 4:30, and people are coming in there and parking in there like that, facing towards the townhouses that are there.
Okay, but you know
You're
what?
gonna screen the parking lot, but you're not gonna screen the house.
So you want to know?
You know, Keith, that's a great point. Can I bring something to your attention? The elevation right here is 589, 590, 595. The elevation up here is 628. This is 30 feet higher than the driveway going down.
So then the lights won't hit that.
It won't hit it. So, I mean, you have a difference here from 595 to 628. So that's what, 33 feet.
Okay, so then maybe all you need is just like.
So, I mean,
4 foot
this is coming down.
row going across
Well-
there to separate the townhouses from looking down onto the parking lot.
Okay, all right. This is coming down, this is staying pretty much,
Much higher, you're saying, it's 30 feet higher.
well, that elevation is 528. I'm trying to look for another elevation somewhere. But anyway,
Does it show the elevation?
No, these are just renderings.
no, you'd have to go onto the site plan, no.
Yeah, I mean, is there on any other page on this, Dave, or would this be the one?
Which page is this, Terry? Is that C2? Yes.
C2.
You could go to landscaping lighting,
Which is down further?
like C,
4 or 5?
here,
This one?
yeah.
Nope.
Oh, come on. Yeah.
You good?
Can you zoom in? And we want this part up here. Oh, that's good, so move it over now. There you go. There you go.
So I'm getting you want a little bit of some screening over here.
Yeah.
As much of it as far as we can go, and if you can't go any further, then you can't go any further.
Well, again, this is pitching down. This is staying constant. So it's like this.
So they're even
I
at the
see what you're saying.
top, to the left, right? They're even over there, and then it goes down.
I would say level. as opposed to even. I would say that site is level, to the
I had pictures of it. I did a site visit a number of months ago, but I don't have the pictures with me.
yeah.
Probably a little below,
I don't think this is accurate either, because that wall is much higher than this is showing.
Yes.
On this one, it's the height of a hood of a car. So,
Okay.
so that, I mean, that would change it too, as far as, we just need to grab some photos, I think.
You want existing photos?
Existing would be, yeah. Current existing? Do you have those?
Not with me, no.
Yeah, that'd be great. Because this is,
That makes it look a lot more level than it is, but I think the park.
this is
a
up
lot
higher.
lower, though.
Yeah, yeah. Well, the wall is certainly much higher, so
Right.
it's gotta be
It does screen it more than.
potentially. But you're still looking
Wall
over, you're
is
still
there,
looking
yeah,
over.
and the wall.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Good, great.
So we might need just a hedgerow on top of it, just to, keep that.
I mean, and let's remember, it is an existing condition. It's the neighbors looking down on this building. There haven't been any complaints, I would imagine. In how long?
No, but
so-
there haven't been trucks and buses and cars and.
There've been trucks, loading, unloading here in the front. But I agree, there haven't been buses.
The trucks have never been unloading out front till the furniture store went in. They were loading into the loading bay down on the
Well, since the
way,
furniture
yeah,
store.
but down the
okay.
down the hill. So yeah, that's actually a comment we're going to get to as well. The other thing on here, David, and I'm going in no particular order. My understanding is there's no playground, but in here there's playgrounds.
Well, we showed that for scale. We could take that out.
Okay, so there is none though.
No, not that I
Yeah,
know.
I would make the renderings as accurate
Sure.
to that. And then on the renderings too, you have no more doorway, I don't believe, coming out to the playground. There's no door.
Yes, we do.
There is?
Yes. Actually, the whole purpose of adjoining the playground to the building was so you can go from the building directly into the
You know what?
playground
Yeah.
and not have.
Yes, because I was going to ask you where the opening to the fence is. There isn't one.
Okay.
But I guess this is blocking the door. I'm guessing?
It's
Got it. And there we go.
It's blocking the door.
Well, in other words, on this page, like I couldn't see the door. It's the windows I can see. That's why I didn't think there was a door still there. Because you can't see the door.
Well, it's in perspective. Come on, Jeff.
Well, it's not-
I
what
mean-
perspective? The playground's there. It's not supposed to be.
all right. Well, so if the playground was removed, the door would be right there.
Right. So,
So-
the reason I was saying it, I couldn't see the door. Meaning, I thought it was gone.
Okay.
My mistake.
Okay.
So hang on. The other thing on the rendering that you want to probably put on is the sidewalk. Because I don't think it shows that. Am I wrong on that? I don't think it does. But the plan has the sidewalk. Am I right on that or no?
Which sidewalk are we talking about? You talking about a long stage road?
No. Down on the side of the playground, I think.
Yeah,
like
the playground
right-
side, I think,
like
'cause
on the
there's a
playground.
sidewalk shown
Yeah, on the plan, there's a sidewalk shown
on
there.
on the south side of the building, I think. I don't have the rendering now in front of me, but yeah.
Go down further.
And it's,
Let me see.
those aren't the right renderings, it's a different one, the one he was holding.
Here, should be.
I think it was the rendering that, yeah,
That one.
that had the playground.
Oh, this one?
Or it's the one, I don't think it's that, can you see
Yeah.
from there? Keep going. Keep going.
This one?
This one, I think. Well, either one of those.
What sidewalk are we talking about here?
Pull his plan up. Pull the, yeah, the plan up.
Current one.
Yeah, current plan. Okay, step there. Let me see, pull it down now. Oh, go, keep going.
Another page.
Yeah.
There's a
you wanna-
sidewalk shown between the daycare and the
You want to go
playground
up,
area.
yeah.
There you go.
Right,
Yeah, that's it.
right. I think the rendering that the chairman is talking about is there was a rendering that I believe you have in your hands there, Jeff.
Yep.
It's a view across the park playground to the south side of the building, and where the playground just, the equipment was blocking the door.
Correct.
There's also a sidewalk that should be shown on the rendering, I believe is what the chairman.
Yeah, so it just says parking right to the fence, as this is.
So it should be along here, you're saying, along the grass area?
It should be along the grass area and then around the corner of
And
the
then take a
building.
left.
Yeah, see the walk?
So basically, you'd rather just eliminate this rendering of the playground, the grass, and
Right.
show the
In other words,
sidewalk.
this rendering should match his plan.
We've had issues in the past where a rendering is inconsistent, and then the question becomes, which is the governing document?
Exactly.
So, to the extent practicable, we like to make sure that the documents
Matching is-
are specifically consistent. It also, when, particularly with the playground, we're assuming that there is no, because we're specifically excluding this area from just limits of disturbance for stormwater. I talked to Dave and he said that it shouldn't be an issue, but again, we want to be consistent because.
And I believe on the plan, Dave, the stairwell is not gonna be there anymore.
We made it landscape terraces.
Right, so this one still has the stairways with the railings coming in.
That's not a new submission, that wasn't part of the new submission, that's an old.
So I think the renderings need to be updated, because
That's
the
what
renderings
we're
that were
saying.
submitted were before the changes were
Yep.
made, right?
Oh, I see what you're saying. Railing the stairs.
Yeah, you just want it to match the plan, because then when you put it all together, and then somebody looks at it. And we had this problem, as you guys remember, on Spring Street. And that will never happen again. Yeah, that was a ridiculous thing. So all of this is because of all of that. So,
I don't like all of that. I like all of this.
I get that, and it would have
And we're not
still been
gonna-
all,
we're still
it would have
not-
still been all of this if it wasn't all of that.
How about a little of this and a little of that? All right.
So the other thing I think Dave pointed out, and we're looking at too, is and I don't know if it's a mistake on the plan. I don't know if Dave commented on that or not, but the candle power of the lights.
Yeah, let's talk about that. Actually, Dave will understand it. We gave it an 0.8 life loss factor in the lighting calculation, in the lighting software. If we take that out, we'll get everything up to 0.25.
Well, I mean, I had looked at the lighting plan, and honestly, I didn't put it in there because I wasn't sure of it. I don't have the means of modeling it, but it looked to me very strange. Like you had more illumination coming from the wall-mounted lighting fixtures. When you look at the fixtures on the table, the wattage is significantly higher.
Actually, significantly lower.
Even though the illumination, they seem backwards is all I'm getting at.
So, yeah, we picked lights, first of all, to try to match the building mounted lights, to have a similar design. Also, in addition to that, we picked pole lights that would spread wide as opposed to far, because out, because you're going around the circle, and also, I think we have to stay around 0.1 along the neighboring property. But in addition to that, if we take out the light loss factor, we would probably be up to the 0.25.
So part of the reason why I was saying is that to me it looked like there was some maybe potentially confusion in the fixtures, is because as you're saying, you have the light poles there, and I think the greatest value you have and underneath any of the light poles that are by the turnaround are 0.5 foot candles.
Yeah, 0.4, 0.3.
Right, there's a
0.2.
0.5 to the one to your left, down and to the left.
That one's like 0.02.
These are all 0.3.
Like right, you can't see it.
Here's 0.5.
Right, okay. But when you look
okay,
now, if you look at the ones on the building, you have a greater casting, a greater illumination. And I believe on the table, the wattages were reversed. Like, it didn't make sense. I thought maybe they were mislabeled or...
No, we took it right off the program. I know what it is. It's that factor. If we eliminate that and allow it all to be at a new candle, we'll be in good shape. Yeah, but I have to prove that. That's not a problem.
Okay. And I think, did we talk, you might have, Dave, I might have been looking at the plan. Did you mention anything about the actual fixtures in the pole?
Oh, the orientation of the light poles is difficult to discern. Like typically you'd see a circle and a rectangle to indicate the pole and the fixture. To me, I don't know what it was about them, but it looked like the one that's on the north side there looks like it's facing towards the residential property, and just be clear about which way the pole is supposed to be facing.
Not a problem. But we did add the additional pole that the board asked for.
Yeah.
So that it completes the turnaround.
Yeah. And we just want to be sure that what gets lit up there is the turnaround.
Yes.
That's the...
And if you notice up here along the neighboring
It's the other...
It's just reflecting.
It's reflecting.
That's somebody you thought I was pranking you?
I thought
No, it's
we kept a low illumination level all along the property line, 0.1, 0.2, all the way across.
Right.
So.
And the other comment there, Dave, that I had mentioned, which I think we should talk about, is the fact that the village code does call for the loading spaces to be 200 feet from the residential district boundary. And I believe on the turning motion that you had indicated, you had the truck loading and unloading in the front part of the parking lot. Clearly that's not 200 feet from the residential property that's to your north.
Yeah, but we had gotten a building department determination on that back on May 16th. Jim Cox rendered a decision. It was sent to everybody that, as requested by the planning board, I reviewed 330 Stage Road as to compliance with the existing loading area, and have determined this to be pre-existing and it will not require any variance from the section 200-44-1.
That's for the existing loading bay. That's not.
Which is the roll-down door.
Which is now.
Well, no, that's the front furniture store.
The loading bay was down by the daycare.
But for the furniture store, the furniture store was what was in subject at that time. And the loading for that, over here is, from my recollection, is the subject or the basis for this email.
I'll follow up with the building inspector for clarification on his interpretation.
Okay.
But my reading of it was that was for the old loading bay.
Right. That was mine too, but
And
we can ask them.
right, and that part of the problem, like one of the comments I think, Dave, was that you had like a sort of a leader showing a general area for that loading. Typically, you would designate the loading space, and that's why we would do this, so that the loading space is designated. We don't have confusion about what was the loading space.
Well, again, I can't debate that with you. I mean, but it is an existing condition, and quite honestly, we would not meet the 200-foot separation.
No, I think our only question, Dave, is if that was issued, what was issued by Jim, is it the existing, because the existing is a roll down door, that was the loading area, right? That's what it was. So he didn't, I don't think he indicated there. When I read it, I didn't see him indicating the furniture store in the front piece.
I mean, let's talk to him, because this was around the time, you know, that the furniture store was the subject of the design. So let's see what he said.
Mr. Cox is no longer our building inspector, so I'll follow up with the building inspector.
Right.
And again, you know, we're not changing the building footprint at all. It's situated in the place it's been for decades. So we cannot comply with a loading area being 200 feet away from the residential neighborhood.
No, and the thing is, if the building inspector says that it was for the front of the building, then you're good to go. But if you said it's the roll down door where the loading was, that's what this is referring to, then that's the issue. Do you know what I mean? Because then it's not existing.
Well, let's see what he says.
And then, you know, go into the front of the building though, using that, which I don't think is the best design for that building. You know, are you gonna mark out a loading area in the front?
Well, the front doors are designed to allow loading through the front space.
No, I'm not talking about
Those
that.
doors are huge.
No doubt you can get the furniture in. The bigger question that we have is the truck outside. They're 18-wheelers.
Can we go to that plan? I think it's C5.1.
Is that one of these pages?
Yeah, C5.1 he says, so. This is C4.1?
That's it. Whoops.
That was 4.1.
That was
We'll take 4.1.
Okay.
I mean, equal opportunity. 5.1, 4.1. We'll take either one.
Then blow it up. Do you want the left or the right, or it doesn't matter?
Where is the one here?
They look the same. You want us to zoom into one of them, Dave?
This is not the latest plan. We narrowed it down to one plan in conjunction with Creighton Manning's report.
I think that's the one that we have.
This is 327. Which I think was the submission date, or 328 was.
I don't have the attached letter, but okay. Oh, there you go. Oh, wait, come back. No, that's not it. Let's go down. Right turn exit, left turn exit.
Yeah, this is
So,
the most recent plan. Let's do it.
coming in
22nd.
this way, coming back out and going out that way. I'm almost sure the one we're working with.
Which one, the right?
Yeah.
So zoom into that.
No, I'm sorry, take that back, the left.
Left?
Yeah.
Okay, just go to that side, that's all. Zoom into that one. The other way, yep. Closer, move it up a little. Nope, the other way. Yep, there, right there. And can you make it slightly bigger? Watch those fingers, that's good, that's good. Now slide it over. Right there, okay. So go ahead, so this is,
Well, actually, it has to be both, right? Because this stage road goes this way and this way. So we're showing the turning radiuses coming off of each side of stage road and entering the site.
all right, so this is the first one, let's just say. So this is coming off of 17.
Yes.
So they're making a right and pulling down to that spot where the truck is, and then backing up
Yes.
to, right, to where the truck is there. So that effectively then blocks off that whole parking.
Oh, yeah. That's why we determined times for deliveries to not be, to be consistent and not interfere with the bus travel for school for the kids to come into the daycare center.
But what about the patrons that are going into the furniture store? over
Right.
there?
They can't leave.
That's where they'll park.
What time do you plan on doing the loadings?
We'll have to do it off hours
So nighttime.
or early morning. I mean, I don't think the furniture store opens till, let's say it opens at 10.
So
To the public.
That brings us back to the 200-foot issue, and the whole reason for that is if you have it particularly adjoining a residential zone, if you have somebody offloading in off hours, you're gonna hear the beep, beep, beep.
Yeah, so that means the people that live in the townhouses right next to them have to hear that beeping every morning coming towards their house.
It's not a condition we created. You know, it's a condition that exists.
David, I'm gonna push back on that because
Yeah,
you are creating it because there was a loading bay that you got a determination. You're eliminating that loading bay to accommodate additional use on that site. So while the existing loading bay, which is being eliminated by your proposal, you are creating the current condition by your proposal.
I can understand your thought. We don't need loading or unloading for the daycare center. All loading and unloading for the furniture store would occur here.
You're still eliminating the previous loading bay, which is
Right, the existing use.
to accommodate your proposed use. That's your proposal, and we're evaluating that proposal, but you are, by doing that, you're creating that condition. So if it was, you weren't touching the loading bay, but you're touching it, you're eliminating it.
So most loading bays don't have double glass doors on a loading bay.
No.
That is a showroom so cars could drive in there and
Used to be,
drive
yeah.
out. That's originally what was there. So
Sure.
it's not a loading bay at all. It's two doors that can open that will give you greater access to bring the bigger things inside of there. That's all this is. And then you're gonna try to get pallet jacks through there and like other machinery probably through there to unload things. So like, it just doesn't seem like a good area to do that at that time for them, at least to me.
And yet it's been operating for what, half a year without complaint. So, I mean, the furniture store has been in operation.
Doesn't mean it's right.
No, and the code is the code.
Yeah, I mean, you can do what you want, but it's not right.
Well,
So,
let's see what the building department comes back with then at that point, and we'll go from there.
Okay.
But I mean, we would not meet the current code regarding the 200-foot distance from a residential area.
No, and that's the whole point of the existing use, again, we'll see what the building department says, but I'm thinking when Inspector Cox looked at that, he was considering the loading area, the existing loading area, because that was previous to the preschool.
But consistent with the furniture store.
It could have been,
Yeah.
I mean, but I'm thinking when he was looking at it, he's thinking that's where it was gonna be loaded.
I'll request an updated interpretation.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's fine.
That's what I can do.
Okay. Any other questions? On the board? No?
Oh, no, let's talk about the fire lane.
Sure.
The trigger for it, I mean, we're below 30 feet in building height. And we have accessibility on two sides, and it's a type 2B construction. You know, it's non-combustible. So I mean, from what I looked at in the fire code, I've not seen the mandate for the fire lane.
It's in the village code. Right? I noted section 200-34D.
So we would ask that you refer it to the fire department, get their comments.
Well, what I would suggest, David, is you were just saying there's a rationale for it not being required.
Yes.
The code provides for that, so if you were to provide a rationale, it would be up for consideration.
If that would put the comment to rest, that would be great. I just, after that, it says the plans shall still be submitted to the fire chief along with review
Right,
with written
detailed.
materials, with our reasoning?
Yes, because if
That's
we
fine.
send it as is, he's gonna say no, because the code is the code.
Or he may, or he may know it. So all right, let's see.
Yeah. Is there more? Did you want some?
No, that's all the ones I have marked.
Okay. Liz, do you have any?
Not anything that Dave hasn't, we are awaiting a response from John Canning as
Yes.
to the sufficiency. I did note in my comment, the applicant is relying on busing. We asked the applicant at our last meeting to provide examples of that, and Creighton Manning was not able to identify a similar use. So our concern is the viability of relying on busing as a way of mitigating traffic, because they weren't able to identify something similar. And so again, you have John Canning, who's more than qualified to discuss that, as well as the turning diagrams presented for both the loading area as well as the buses. So I think at this point, await John's review for that. But again, I do have concerns about the viability of something that folks aren't just not used to seeing. If it, and we offered the applicant the opportunity to explain how their client would use the site to help us in that.
Yeah, I mean, you get, 2 buses and a car and they're stopped. I mean, it's gonna be on the stage road, right, ultimately, and then.
Well, the other problem.
We show a queuing plan.
Sorry?
We show a queuing plan, on how it would not impact Stage Road.
Right. I mean, the only other issue is, that I'm
There are
looking
no
at.
issues,
Well,
only solutions.
right. So the challenge, we'll call it a challenge, and you bring up the solution. So the idea, to approve something for a use because it's using buses, that's why I think getting Creighton Manning to do a full traffic study based on cars, that's gonna tell us, because you're not gonna get another nursery school in there that's doing busing, right? This is an incredibly unusual situation. in that way.
I mean, we can only present the project before us. I
get
can't
it.
predict the future.
Nope.
I'd love to. Well, maybe not actually, but this is the project before us. This is what we're asking for approval.
It would make more sense to drive in past the entrance, do the loop, and drop off on the way out. I know you kind of cross over, but because now at least they're not backing up into the road. The row of cars, so to speak, is down the hill, around the bend.
I'm less worried about the on-site traffic movement. I'm more worried about the situation where we now have an approved use, and the busing is not, not at 100% busing. It's 50% busing, or no busing, and
Or kids miss the bus and the parents drive them,
or correct.
whatever.
And the impact because of the traffic light that's right there. I'm not the traffic consultant. I would defer to John Canning in that regard.
And I think we didn't, we're just awaiting now their review and response.
Are they under a time constraint? I mean, we are for submissions.
I think they'll do it pretty quickly. We don't.
Probably. I mean, I did get an email from him today saying he received it. He would be reviewing it and sending a report to the planning
Yeah,
board. So
I think it'll be pretty quick.
I know that. Yeah.
They're pretty quick on things.
Quickly.
And can we get copied on that?
Yeah.
Pretty quickly, because that would be
As soon
great.
as we get it, we'll send it.
All right. So why don't we let the public comment on this? Let it go out to public hearing, hear what the neighbors have to say.
I'm not sure we're there yet.
I think that was not the answer we were looking for. If we are there.
Yeah, I don't think so. So I think, you got to get the plans in. You want to adjust the renderings to the plans.
I'd like to have the building inspector's interpretation.
We need the building
because if
inspector's
he interprets-
interpretation.
if he
There's still a
agrees
lot
with-
holding out.
If he agrees with me, then we're going to be changing this to the ZBA. It's going to need a referral to the ZBA.
Right.
So.
Oh, We do have an updated memo which supports the use of the front as a loading area. It was dated February 10th, 2025. The planning board it was a memo from the building department. It was issued to the planning board. It states the planning board has questioned the loading area for the existing building used for furniture warehouse store not meeting the 200-foot setback from residential districts. The village changed the zoning for the adjacent property 213-1-31 from CB to SR10 back on November 10th, 2023. At the time of the loading area was used, it was not required to meet this requirement due to being located adjacent to a business district. The loading area is now considered pre-existing non-conforming. It would be permitted to remain and be used as it was designed without meeting the 200-foot setback requirement.
What loading areas are you talking about?
For the front area of the furniture store.
It says that on there?
Yeah, you can look at the,
On that right there, it says it up on that?
Right, but it doesn't, so
Does
it's,
it say
so,
up there that it's the front area?
so,
loading area?
no, so David, listen. This is how I see this, and this is why we do need the interpretation, because this is saying the planning board has questioned the loading area, which is true, for the existing building used for furniture warehouse. There was no school involved at this point. That roll down door was still the consideration for the furniture store.
no. Furniture store always occupied the upper area of the building, never the lower area. So, if, based on that point, there's another thought. Because that loading area that you're referring to accessed the lower portion of the building.
Right.
Never accessed the upper portion, and the furniture store was always limited to the upper portion of the building.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's without question.
Right, could
because
it
we
be
did the
considered and they would bring it upstairs from down there?
Well, no, it's a 10-foot difference between the two, or
Is there
8-foot difference.
the ability to come through the back door and bring it upstairs and go into the furniture store?
That was not the plans. That was
Is the capability there?
yes,
Okay, so then that's what they were talking about, right?
but no,
Okay,
because
so you can sit there and try to make it what you want it to be, okay? It's not how we see it.
but Keith, plans were submitted to the building department that did not show what you're referring to.
I will
It
clarify
showed the
with-
furniture store.
I will clarify with the building department.
Us.
All I can do right now is clarify with the building department.
Okay.
I can't tell from this letter which loading area it's referring to. So I want to clarify what loading area it's referring to. That's the clarification I'm asking. It says the existing loading area. Where is the existing loading area?
All right, so if you can get us our those clarifications before the next submission, in time for the next submission date, we'll make those
Yeah, I think that's the end of
revisions
this
or
month. Do you know the submission date?
2 days from now, I think. Oh, no, we're at the beginning of the month, that's right.
Yeah,
Is it the 28th or something?
yeah, it's somewhere in the end of the month.
That last week.
Oh,
I should always keep that. It's April 28th.
28th. Yeah, so that gives you plenty of time to get a submission in, right? So, and then I think we could probably,
I'll follow up.
we'll
with
check
the-
that out
I'll
before
follow up
then.
with the building
Yeah.
inspector tomorrow morning.
okay. All right. Anything else, David, on your part? You're good?
No, I'm not. I want to hear what the public has to say about the project.
Well, here's the problem. Until we get everything laid out, if we have a public meeting and we don't have the interpretation, the plans, the renderings as they are gonna look and all that, that becomes an issue for the public. Because then we have to go back and say we have to do this again. You know what I mean? So as soon as, let's get it all in there and we'll just do it. We'll do the public meeting. That's easy to set up a month in advance. So we can do that.
Yeah, we have a client that's definitely anxious to get the building up and running. You know, there's no question. It's vacant area that's just left unused. So
No, we get it.
yeah, so he's
Yeah.
anxious to get it developed.
Yeah,
And for a good cause. I mean, it's really
great
not,
cause.
you know, it is consistent with the area. It would benefit the neighborhood quite a
Yeah,
bit.
and look, because of that great cause and because it's children, even more so, more eyes on that, because it's an important piece, you know, especially, you know, where the trucks are and people moving and, you know, I think it's important. to do the
Absolutely.
job.
I liked the love that you guys showed better when we said there would be no more car maintenance there. The surprise was fantastic.
Well, that got rid of a whole other set of
This kind of
problems.
waved off a little bit. All right. Have a good evening, everyone.
You too, David. You too. Have a good one.